Hello, we are covering markets. We had a very eventful week so far. We have more liquidations, unfortunately. Bitcoin dropped below 108, our very important level, the support level that was established before. Ethereum is dropping as well to $3,000, which is unheard of. People were saying how it will be 5K, 10K by the end of the year, and here we are 2 months before the end of the year, and it sits at 3,500 right now. We will talk about JellyJelly pumping 8x when everything is dumping. Also, the New York mayor is Mamdani. That market on Polymarket was resolved to yes. We'll talk about this. And if you want to skip TA that we will do right now, you can jump into the description in the specific topics that you want to see. So first, let's look at what's been happening in Bitcoin and all the majors, and then we'll check Solana as usual, and also the drop in open interest that shows how many people got liquidated or how many accounts got liquidated. Bitcoin, we had this level at 108 holding for a very long time, and we broke through it, and right now it went all the way down to 98, so broke 100 but closed above 100. It's a very important psychological mark, so we're not going to pierce it through immediately. And just like on previous streams, I was talking about that because we're touching the support line many times, the support line gets weaker. So if we do 1, 2, 3, 4, and each time the support line is touched this way and we have a lower highs, that makes the support line weaker. In the same way, if we were touching the resistance line and the price was about to go higher, that resistance line gets weaker. So unfortunately we broke through the 108, but not too much. Right now we are only, the markets are freaking out, but we are only 7% down, 640, 650. But no one owns Bitcoin, at least people on CT and regular people who are investing in crypto or wants to be in crypto, because there is Bitcoin and there is crypto. And then there are meme coins. I would say there are like 3 categories now. And even though Bitcoin is like a litmus test, everyone is looking, it's like an index. Everyone is looking at it. So the moment there are any weakness, everything is dumping across all the altcoins. So that is Bitcoin, and right now the new level is 100K, and we want to keep that. We don't want to drop lower than that. And I believe that since in December we'll have another interest rate cut, the president is finished with his tariffs policies, and that might not affect macroeconomics anymore, hopefully, again. And everyone already knows his practices and strategies, that he announces something big, everyone's freaking out, but then he comes back and reverts it. Recently, the Supreme Court ruled out that, maybe not the Supreme Court, maybe the previous courts, that the blanket tariffs are not, cannot be implemented on all the countries. If you remember, he was holding that big board where he was showing how every country what percentage every country going to pay. So that was put on pause, even though it was announced. But again, you need to go through all those levels, the Congress, the House of Representatives, and then if those decisions are upheld, then it goes into the court. There's 3 courts at the top, so nothing is implemented immediately. And we hope that Bitcoin will hold this level. We have Michael Saylors, we have all these companies that are buying Bitcoin, and it's not going to drop 20-30% like it did in the past, just because it's a more stable asset now and more companies own it. And Michael Saylor is not going to sell Bitcoin the moment we have some negative news in the macro or just in general in crypto. So that Bitcoin, if we zoom out and look at the weekly chart, we can see that nothing terrible is happening. Again, we just at the previous resistance line. So the previous resistance was right here, and that was 100K. We bounced from it twice. We had the double peak. We pierced through it, went to 108, but then we closed those weeks close to 100K, and that's why it wasn't a confirmed breakout. It was a fake breakout, and then after that we dumped lower. However, the third time we arrived to this resistance line, we broke through it, and then we established a couple of weeks we had closings above that resistance line, which established that old resistance as a new support, and from that moment we started to bounce up, and right now we're just bouncing on that resistance, that support line of 100K. And if we look at the Ethereum, so Bitcoin is down 6%. Ethereum, look at that. Is that my writing or? It is my writing. February 2nd. What wasn't here? February 2nd. February 2nd was another day of the macroeconomic shock when $2.2 billion of open interest was wiped out in the markets. And it's also because of the president announcement of the tariffs. And so let's see how we are doing on a daily low time frame first, and then we'll go to a higher time frame to see. So we broke through the 3800, which was also for a very long time that was the support line. Before it was the resistance, we broke through that, and then it was a support line for a long time, and we had this 4 touches of this support line. And on previous stream I was saying how this support line is important to hold, but the more times we're touching it, the more price gravitates toward it, the likely it breaks and actually not hold. And unfortunately we broke through it, and which gives us opportunity to buy at lower prices. And when everyone was so bullish at the end of summer specifically, because we had this amazing run from 2300 to almost 5K, and everyone was super excited. The fear and greed index at the end of the summer was peaking, not in the extreme greed, but it was not in the extreme greed, but in the greed level. That was July. However, then we started to slide down lower and lower, and right now it's at 20. It's at fear. And if you look previously where we were when the fear and greed was at 20, is these areas. It's even lower than in September 2024 when Bitcoin was trading at 5,400. So it's very similar situation, I feel like right now than in summer 2024, because we arrived at this level. Track the gray line right now. We arrived at the new all-time high, $73,000, and then we could not break through that level, and we started to range and consolidate, and we started to print lower highs and lower lows. And each time, so first peak was 74, the second one was 70, then it was 69. So you can see how it was lower and lower highs. And in trading, if you look at any chart and you see lower highs, lower lows, that's a bearish sign. That means get out and take your profits if you have any, or establish stop losses. Make sure you have something to fall on. And the fear and greed index followed the same pattern, and you can see how people got more and more demoralized until we arrived. That was, so the lowest points of that range were 58, 57, and then 53. So when it touched 53, that's when everyone panics. And you can see at the fear and greed index how it was at 26. And after that, when everyone was already fearful that, okay, we are not going anywhere higher, we're not breaking through 78K, that's when it started to climb. And that was just in the bottom of the range, the price of Bitcoin. And fear and greed index was in fear. And same situation that we have right now. We have the range for Bitcoin. So right now, before it was 120, 108. Now we moved lower a little bit and we're printing lower. So broke 108. Now we're at 100, and everyone is paranoid. The fear is at the highest. It's at 20. The fear at the highest. The index is at the lowest. And previous times when we were that low was 86 Bitcoin price, and that was beginning of 2025, again after the announcement of the tariffs. And after that, from February until April 9, that was what, about 2-3 months, when the price of Bitcoin, as well, again look at the gray price, it didn't go any more lower. So we were, this is March, this is February, so 84, we hit then 78. So from 84 to 78 is 6K, which is less than, it's roughly like 7% out of 84. And we never went lower than that. We ranged a little bit, established that support, 2 touches on the support line. People are as fearful as it gets, extreme fear, and we never went lower than that. And I believe that we are repeating the same pattern right now. There are so many positive things coming in 2026. We have the Jerome Powell is leaving in May. The current president will start pumping the economy, pumping all the money into the economy. We have the midterms happening as well, and all of that will be a catalyst for the risky assets to pump. For tech stocks, crypto, money will become much cheaper. The interest rate will be cut, and there will be a growth in jobs, and all that data will start coming in. But first, the liquidity needs to hit the markets, and speculative assets, they are the first to absorb that new liquidity that comes in. And then the job market and actual people and the prices in the economy, it's the last level and stage when the liquidity hits the market. So that was Ethereum. Ethereum again, right now from the peaks, it dropped to the lowest, 35%. If you would known, if someone told you in August at the end of the summer, when everyone was already prophesying that, okay, this time we're definitely breaking this previously established all-time high is 4,600. We're finally breaking it through because we couldn't break it at the end of 2024 and 2025. So now it's going to break it, but it didn't happen. And right now we are 35% lower from those all-time high. And that is exactly the moments when you need to buy, when everyone is fearful, when we have a 30% pullback on the major cryptocurrency, which is Ethereum, and people from Bitcoin, they, not all of them, but still some of them, they will rotate some of their profits because they will take some profits. Bitcoin going from 120 to 100, that's people selling, they taking those profits, they will put it into the other altcoins. Not all of them, because right now people are more understandable of the difference between Bitcoin and crypto, that it's not the same. But still, some of those profits gonna funnel into the altcoins. And one of the other one we can track is Bitcoin dominance. Not Bitcoin dominance, but ETH against Bitcoin. And again, we touched the resistance line, we bounced from it, and right now we're going down, but we're not going to, this is the Bitcoin to Ethereum to Bitcoin, and you can say that the bottom for the all altcoins was in April 2025 this year, and that was as low as it gets because everyone was expecting that altcoin season, but it didn't happen. And you can see the strength in Bitcoin. So the stronger Bitcoin gets, the lower this chart goes, because Ethereum is not performing as much as Bitcoin does. And we stopped that trend in April 2025, and since then it went up, and right now we again experiencing a pullback which is natural for the markets to fluctuate. But that's already a good sign. It gives you this opportunity, because if you look at the chart and you see, oh, it started to go up, then you start to FOMO and you're like, okay, I'm missing out on all the altcoins to go up. And you would buy on the green candles, but that's the mistake that we will not do. So we will buy only when we have a pullback. And right now we have that opportunity, and you can see that this is already second candle. The first one was right here on October, when there was the biggest liquidation event, and right now we are having the second touch of that support line, second touch. So the chances of it going even lower is much less now, because we already had those devastating events, everyone dumping on everyone. You can see this huge volume candle, and the yesterday was another big one, and chances of it going down is way smaller compared to these green candles, for example, because once it goes to this high, there is always opportunity for it to go lower and even lower, and this is the opportunity that we have right now. Solana is super cheap right now. The pullback it went as low as 40%. Solana is the top 5 currencies. We have Bitcoin, we have Ethereum. The number 3 spot is disputed between XRP and Solana, but those in crypto, they know the real nature of XRP and the real utility of Solana, and that's why we are right now looking at the Solana technical analysis and not the XRP. So Solana at the price, again, everyone is prophesying Bitcoin at 200K, Ethereum at $15,000, and Solana at 600 by the end of this cycle. And this cycle takes much longer because, again, money are more expensive. It's not 4-year cycles anymore. There's no alt season. So we're just gonna grind slower toward the all-time highs. That grind is relative to not only people putting new money into the crypto, but it also has to do with the devaluation of the dollar. Don't forget that all of these numbers they are denominated in dollars that are being printed like there is no tomorrow, and no one is stopping with that. We at the beginning of the year, we're going to have big beautiful bill. It will start. That was the budget for the 2026. So all that money start hitting the economy. We're gonna have a lower interest rate that will start hitting the economy, and we have all the additional improvements and advancement in corporate America that comes from the AI. So businesses, the S&P 500, the top 500 companies, they became more efficient in the way they spend money. That's gonna translate into the higher earnings, which will translate in the buybacks and higher stock prices. So everything will be booming in 2026. And then we'll also have midterms that will force the current administration to pump the economy and make sure that we are finishing the first 2 years on a high note, so the people will give the mandate for the second term. So that is Solana. What are some levels on Solana? Let's open weekly. Could not break through. That was the third attempt to break through 250, 240. And right now we are having a nice pullback. That's the moment when you buy. To be a cautious trader, you buy on the pullbacks. You buy here maybe once, you buy here a second time, and here would be the third time when you enter the position. Each one, gradually you increase the amount you buy. You don't trade on leverage, and this is a really nice level because, again, if you look on previous performances, lots of weeks when we finished at this level, we had this area, this, then we had this level as a support right there when we bounced up. Then we had this again as a support, broke through it, this as a resistance. So this level, if we want to box out, this is how I would box out. This is the buy area. If the price enters this box, this is a very, very good level to buy. And you can see right now we're in the middle of the week, and we have still 4 days until the closing of this week, so anything can happen. But right now we see that the price went down and bounced from it. And look at it, how the top range of the box is the resistance now. And I cannot predict what's going to happen in the short term, but in 2-3 months, this is the level from where we will bounce higher, on my opinion, just based on the TA that I see on the chart. And you also need to remember that Solana, it's the #1 casino chain, and there was a huge product market fit for Solana in terms of meme coins and meme coin trading. There is a lot of, so people thought that crypto in general is the casino, right? But we now have, as further in the development we go, the more products are being built. Solana proved itself as the #1 chain for consumer facing apps. Not as much as Ethereum. Ethereum is more of an infrastructure where lots of protocols are being built. The DeFi is built on Ethereum. So Ethereum would be more of a infrastructure for finance in general, lending, borrowing. And if you want apps for users, then you would choose Solana because it's fast, mainly because it's fast. There are other chains that are also fast, but Solana got that turning point when it's accumulated enough people looking into the chain and users who are willing to get on that chain. Because you need to remember that in crypto, it's still very important which tribe you join. Do you join the base tribe that are on Coinbase infrastructure, Ethereum, they are on Ethereum and ERC20 tokens, or you choose Solana infrastructure with all the Solana tokens? Because if you deposit people on ramped, there is still a very narrow bottleneck how people on ramp into crypto. If they on ramped into Solana, they're going to have all their money in Solana. And even though there are bridges set up, it's still very vertical. They on ramped in Solana, now they have Solana. That means that they have Solana specific wallets. They know Solana specific decentralized exchanges, Solana DeFi protocols, and same for every other chain. So because it's still very segregated, it's important to choose the chain wisely, which layer you're going to choose. If you're choosing Ethereum, you probably not going to have as many eyeballs looking at your application if it's a consumer facing application. So this is Solana, this is the levels to buy at, and I believe that this is a really good levels to buy right now. And let's jump into the news. So first one would be JellyJelly. Oh, first, I also wanted to say that on Monday, so we started the sell-off on Sunday evening in the Pacific time, and Sunday evening in the Pacific time, it means morning in Asia, and Asia started to sell off on Sunday evening. For Asia, it's Monday morning. And then on Monday, we continued the sell-off. And on Tuesday, there was even bigger sell-off. And if we look at the open interest, so open interest, it's all of the futures, people who are putting their position in futures on Binance, Hyperliquid, and OKX and Bybit. That's the speculative volume, and it's early signs of what's happening in the market, whether people are fearful or they are hopeful. And you can see how the big drop in the open interest happened yesterday, Monday, November 3rd, when we had a cut from 8.4 billion to 7.8, and we finished yesterday at 6.7. So from 8 billion to 6.7, that's more than 30%, more than 30% cut in the open interest, which means all those people got liquidated. So people were getting liquidated based on this chart following. The open interest was, or they not necessarily liquidating, maybe they closing their positions, but this whole time frame is 1 week. If we open 1 month, we can find October 10 to show you, and we will close the less speculative exchanges and leave only hyperliquid. That's when the biggest liquidation happened, from 12 bill to 5 billion, more than 60% cut. And since then, people see, okay, now we are so low, let's gamble a little bit more. And they started to open, the open interest started to grow, and it grew from 5 to 9. And that was that bounce from the low levels, and people were buying back and getting back into the positions. However, we saw that we are not breaking through those established resistance line, and slowly the open interest started to close. This not steep downward slope was probably people just closing the position, and whenever it gets big drops like it happened yesterday and day before yesterday, that's most likely liquidations. So what's now happening? Again, we had liquidations yesterday, we had everything in red, double digits, negatives, and as people catch that trend in the market, they start to speculate back, and that's when we see the growth in open interest. It's either people speculating that it will go down or it will go up. This is accumulative, it's the total, but they start to speculate, and that's why we see the increase of open interest. So JellyJelly, what is JellyJelly? It's a social-fi video calling application on mobile, on iPhone, and it got famous on, I noticed JellyJelly first because of the hyperliquid debacle that happened on March 26th. This candle, March 26th. Let me collapse this, and can I collapse this? Maybe not. So the coin was let's couple words about the application first. So the ex-founder of Venmo, Sam Lessin, and Ikram, they decided to build this application for video calling. And the video calling is, the application is, the camera, the front camera works when you call, and the back camera works. So the screen is split in two. I'll show you how it looks like.
So
yeah, it looks like this. So you have the front and you have the back working at the same time. You can turn off, yeah, the front camera and the back camera, and then you can call, you can chat. But the application also had a lot of AI features where after you finish the call, the AI will put titles on your screen and improve and find which areas of your conversation, if you had a conversation with someone, is the most viral, that you can clip it and then publish it directly into TikTok or Instagram Reels. And even on jellyjelly.com/feed, you can find some of their ready Reels that people published. This is how it looks like. This is Ikram, by the way. And we will talk about this event that caused the pump, 8x pump of the coin. Very interesting solution. The split screen is not new, but here we have everything packaged in one cohesive product, where it's on mobile, it's calls, it's integrated with AI, and like it's not enough, there was a utility token, JellyJelly, on top of that. So they first launched the app on, the token at least goes live on January 29, and it pumps to $250 million. It's, and I'm huge for ICM. This is Internet Capital Markets. It's when the projects use their project and then they launch a token next to it. And the token is not secured by anything. It's not equity, it's not future profits, it's just the attention. And the JellyJelly was one of the biggest one because it was Web2 people coming from the founder of Venmo going into Web3, and they building Web2 the just a regular consumer facing product and then introduced a token next to it. So people speculated up to 240 mil. And then, of course, as always, as usual with all this, the hype died down a little bit. People started to exiting. So the token went down to 5 million. So that is a drop of 90%. I'm not gonna even measure this drop. However, couple months later, on March 26th, actually 1 month, 2 months later, March 26th, the market cap of JellyJelly was 13 mil, and that's when one wallet decided to do a trick with the Hyperliquid. So JellyJelly got listed on Hyperliquid, and JellyJelly is a meme coin, right? Even though it's an ICM, it's behind a regular project, but it's a meme coin. And at the 13 million market cap, it was trading on Hyperliquid, and this one wallet decided he opened the position where he was shorting it, and then on the another DEX he opened a long position, so he liquidated himself on the Hyperliquid, which made a Hyperliquid vault that provides liquidity to Hyperliquid to inherit that negative position. So he made money on the token going down on that Hyperliquid. Then the token went already, because it went so low, it was very easy to pump the price higher. So on the other DEX he started to buying, and he pushed the price higher, which made then he made money on the other DEX, and that caused the token, first of all, it was very volatile. We can see the scandal that happened on March 26th, but then because Hyperliquid inherited this negative position on their vault, they didn't know what to do, and that was the big controversy with Hyperliquid, because they voted to settle the price not at the Oracle price of the JellyJelly, which was much higher after the pump on the another DEX, but they voted to at the price to make holders of the HLP vault whole, to make them solvent, which was beneficial to the HLP holders and people of in the Hyperliquid ecosystem, but it was a bad thing for anyone else who has their own vaults, independent vaults on Hyperliquid, because you can go on Hyperliquid and you can open your own vault, which basically means that there is a market maker participant on Hyperliquid that's going to overrule other participants, even though Hyperliquid is supposed to be decentralized. And right now, that is probably the biggest concern of the Hyperliquid, is that it's very centralized in that sense, because validators, they can get together and they can vote for any initiative that will be against other participants, unless if you have your own vaults. So that happened on March 26th. That's when I first found out about JellyJelly, and that's when was the biggest news about JellyJelly. On Apin, on our app, it's appeared even earlier when it was pumping so high. And since then, the coin dropped again to 10 mil, but you can see how it was, it never went below 10 mil. So it dropped to 10 mil, then we had another pump just a couple months later, because the people behind it, the founders, they kept building, they kept updating, the app went on App Store, and a small drawdown again to 15 mil, and then we started to September, when it went higher and then higher, and then when everything is dropping, everyone is getting liquidated left and right. It's Sunday, it's Monday, Tuesday, yesterday, when Bitcoin goes down, and we have this ICM token pump from 80 mil, it pumped back to where it was all the way at the beginning, even higher at 486 million, and that was, so depending from where you measure, but that was 5x. And of course, again, it corrected since then, but that is just such a outlier, because again, everyone is dumping, everyone is super pessimistic, the altcoins are dumping, Solana is dumping, but these coins, the ICM meta, and people already forgot about JellyJelly because it wasn't on the news as much. People, after ICM meta, there was CCM, and now there's Polymarket, but people continue building. Ikram and Sam, they keep building, they keep updating, and they published. They had this. Let me make it a little bit quieter. So Solana was all the top people from Solana, Tolly and Mert. No, Mert was not there, but they were in stock exchange, New York Stock Exchange, listing for the Solana first Solana treasury company from Bitwise, and somehow I guess the JellyJelly people end up there, and they had this performance. Basically singing, and this video went viral on CT, getting 170,000 views, and people saw this with a ticker. It's as though you are at the stock exchange launching your coin, but that wasn't the case. It just looked like that. And after that, the coin went up. And another thing that happened is, if we looked on chain, what happened? Let me find it. So Bubble Maps reported that 7 wallets bought 20% of the supply on centralized exchanges. The main one was Get.io, but 20% of supply was bought, and that caused the pump, the 8 times pump, which made me think, but how much is the free float for the JellyJelly? Out of the 15 million before it started to pump, 75 million. In order for the coin to pump this much, if we measure from 80 mil, it pumped 6 times, 500%. And the only way for a coin to pump this high is if there is very small free float, when 60-70% of the coin is held by the concentrated in cluster of wallets, or maybe one wallet. Then you have only 20 or 30% trading, and out of that 20 or 30%, if you buy half of it, in the whole token supply, it might be only 10%, but because there is only 30% free flowing, and you buy 10% of the whole, that would be half of the supply available. And that's exactly what happened. And these tokens, these wallets started to buying, and that caused the price to jump. We also have previous mayor of New York, Eric Adams, on JellyJelly. JellyJelly posted it on their account, but I'm not sure if Eric posted it on his accounts. But because we have all this drama with the New York elections, we will talk about it later, this also draws some attention, and it's cool that the project, again, all we need from ICM, Meta, and tokens is to see that the project continues building. And that presents a great opportunity for us to find tokens of ICM, all the tokens that were launched between March until now. It was very big hype until September, because on September the CCM and streamer coins started to popping, but people still use ICM Meta, people still build the project, and they want to get more views on Twitter. They would launch a token and they will get attention that way. You can find projects like this, and if they continue building, it's a very good buy, because most of their charts, they look just like this, when it's a big pump and then a dump, and then if they continue building, there is a very big chance that there will be another update, maybe someone purchasing them, maybe they are going live or launching their chain, or launching a mainnet, and then you will see green candles just like we had for JellyJelly. So, and the last thing that I wanted to mention is how is, so we had AI features integrated into the JellyJelly app, but there are also utility for the JellyJelly token. And the utility was that Holders can gain early beta access to premium features like boosted visibility in the feed or exclusive AI enhancements. So because you post those reels, so to speak, or TikToks, we cannot call it TikToks, let's call it jellies. We post those jellies, people post those jellies in the feed of the app, and you can pay with the JellyJelly token to promote the position of that jelly. And that's interesting utility for a token. The name of the app, by the way, is Jelly Phone. If you search for it on the App Store, there is JellyJelly and then there is Jelly Phone. And I assume that there is a conflict from the Security and Exchange Commission, and they didn't allow them probably, or it's not, or legal advisors consulted JellyJelly and said like you cannot have the token and do that, would be a securities fraud. So that's my interpretation why there is a separate app called Jelly Phone. But the JellyJelly token, so you can pay for the premium features, you can boost visibility, and you can also do micropayments. You can tip someone if you watch someone's stream on JellyJelly. You can tip someone with the JellyJelly token, and also unlock gated content. Very good and interesting implementation of everything together. You have the video calling, you have the porting and exporting into the TikTok and Reels. At the same time, you can add some AI features, find some viral clips that will cut for you. There are some other apps who do that for you. Opus Clips. Clipping in general is a whole new industry in social media right now, because we have a lot of content created just like this shows that I'm recording. They might be 40, 60 minutes long, but then I want to clip certain pieces of it and put it everywhere on TikTok, on Instagram, and JellyJelly put that feature as well in their application. So that was JellyJelly. This is how it looks like. Split screen. The CCM, the content creators markets, right? Content creators? No, not content creators. What does CCM stands for? CCM. I think content creators. I'm blanking right now. Content creators, cryptography. Yeah, Google doesn't even know what that means. Yeah, I mean, I remember it as content creators. So let's just keep it that way. So very sad news, because one of the biggest content creators Meta's apps narratives was Time.fun. We have Pump.fun, but this was Time.fun. And Time.fun is where you bid to buy your favorite KOL's time. So you have people like Ansem, you have people like Tolly, the founder of Solana, and you could bid and buy the time from them, couple minutes, 3 minutes, maybe to pitch your project, maybe to consult with them, for whatever other reasons. It was mostly used for marketing purposes. And if you remember, last week we had this event when projects were pitching, 3 projects bid $30,000-$40,000 to pitch to a panel of the Solana OGs, which were Tolly, Ansem, and Chow, and one more person, I don't remember who. But Time.fun provided that platform where you can bid for other influencers' time. And the founder of Time.fun, his Twitter is this, cows. He announced that they are shutting down Time.fun, that they tried really hard with their meta. They did promotions, they did campaigns, but it seems to be not growing, and people voting with their dollars to go into different direction. They specifically into prediction markets right now. And one thing that he said, that in foreseeable future, the markets is rejecting creator tokens. CCM has been high in mindshare on CT for the last few months, So it isn't a marketing problem. The market is clearly voting with their dollars, and the vote is against CCM. So I agree with that. We hear a lot about CCM. We saw it. The mind share is huge, but the dollars are not there. People are not, even though they're voting with their attention, but they're not voting with their dollars. And as a project owner or business owner, it's important for you to, because you survive, just like Tolly said on that stream, the crypto projects, they either earn money from the managing assets that they have under management, which is the protocol, which is DeFi, or you charge on the transaction fees. And for Time.Fund, that was the transaction fees. They wanted people to trade. It's basically like KOL tokens, personal tokens. And they wanted to charge them, but there was no activity. There was not enough volume. They probably weren't making enough money on that. And that's hence this post that Time.Fund is shutting down. He promised that all the points that were aggregated and generated on Time.Fund, there will be a snapshot, and they will port into his new project. But for now, Time.Fund is basically winding down and shutting down. Also, he mentions that projects that also trying to solve CCM are projects like Zora and Pump Fun with their streamer coin. But again, streamer coins were pumping on September, but now the market completely died out. Even though projects continue streaming, the volume is not there. People don't want to trade those tokens. And streamers go live and they continue. We have the lots of streamers who came out. It's mostly like shock content when people just do dumb shit. But people still don't want to trade those tokens. However, one streamer that I like to watch and I'm tracking is Unchained. It's Laura from the YouTube channel Unchained, and she also created a token, a content creator token. Content Capital Markets, Content Capital. It's still a creator capital markets, right? That's the abbreviation. So she continues streaming because she publishes videos. Her media Unchained continue publishing episodes, and she goes live every day. So you can see that one day ago there was a live, 2 days, 5 days. She continues publishing. Those videos will end up on YouTube anyways, and she goes live on YouTube as well. However, the token, even though it pumped at the beginning all the way to 1.2 mil, you can see the drop, and the drop is almost like it got rugged, but I'm 100% sure that there is no interest for them to rug this coin, and it's just people got the hold of a supply and then they dump that supply. And in the absence of buyers, if there is no hype, there is no meta, even it doesn't matter how much of the supply you have, it might be 5-10%, but if you dump that 5% all in one chunk and there is no buyers, the price can go 99% down, even though again only 10% or 5% is being sold. So right now it's at 60K, and if we check how much activity and trading fees they generated, you can see that per day it's been nothing, almost nothing. Like yesterday it was $12, $25, $17, and that shows you that the content creators coins, content creators markets is not there, just like Couds mentioned in his tweet. Next is ATM. So in this whole news of everything is going down, everyone is getting liquidated, this project decided to launch a token. Their name is ATM.day, and what they do is they have trading strategies, automated trading. They have 5 trading algorithms, which are this one. We have this AI Murad. We have this AI guy that is almost like JD, but not exactly. His beard is a little bit brownish, but it still reminds you. It's enough for you to understand what it is about. And you can check at the ATM that day what are the strategies and how they do it, but basically they will publish these many tokens, so 72 tokens, 120 tokens per day, and they will list it here on the terminal. Right now it's locked because I'm not a subscriber, and it will tell you, and their algorithms are based on they track wallets, they track the wallet's previous performance, and based on that information they'll show you, oh, if this wallet had this win rate, this performance, and now they're buying this token, here's that token. That's what they do. So they developed these 5 algorithms. They claim to be very profitable for those algorithms. I believe there was a win rate somewhere. This is graduation rate. Somewhere I saw they are mentioning, yeah, like this one, 82% win rate. This is the OG algorithm trading strategy. Then there is this algorithm. Very ballsy of them on Tuesday when everything is dumping, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, everyone is in red, fear and greed index at 20, and they are launching a token. And they have, even though they launched on Pump Fund, is that right? Yeah, they launched on Pump. They have struck tokenomics where they took 20% and they locked it for the team, and they have another 15 for the marketing, and then community is 25. So they bought back all of this supply, which basically means, what is it, 20, 35, and 60% of tokens. Now 60% of tokens when the SEX listings is 5%, so 65, so 35% only liquidity pool is free float. So it kind of creates this JellyJelly situation when 65% is locked. It is locked, right? It's not tradable. It's well, centralized exchange listings 5%. No, these 5% are tradable. So 35 is tradable on chain because it's in the liquidity pools, and 5% traded on centralized exchanges. So 40% is traded on out there, free float, and then 60% is locked. And even though they launched in the, let's open the chart for it. Even though they launched in these red days when everything is dumping, they still were able to generate enough interest. We have 1,000 wallets who are holding it, and this is the price performance. So the first candle is when they had to purchase that 60%, which caused this huge green candle. Yeah, first block probably they launch, they cause this green candle, then some bots probably buy it as well, and then it corrects a little bit, consolidation, and now it sits right here. Let's see what's going to happen. Launching at this time is a very, very, again, ballsy move, to say the least, because liquidity and attention is definitely not in the meme coins right now. It's all in the prediction markets. So we will see how it will pans out for them, and how this strategy in general, how those algorithms work. Because we have the agentic trading bots, it's also growing narrative. We have the X402 micropayments over HTTP protocol. And if they integrate something with that, and maybe will spun out their algorithms and make them individual bots that you can trigger somehow, maybe through Twitter, and send the money to that bot, and the bot will trade automatically and send you back the profits. I don't know, something like that. Just thinking of the ideas, where can this project go? So that was ATM. One amazing thing that they have is they have these extensive resources, and they have this bot that trades volume. So first of all, yeah, volume checker. So this bot on Telegram, atm.day. Bot, add it on your Telegram, and then what you can do is if you drop volume check and then contract address, the bot will tell you how much volume is by volume bots, fake volume, and how much is the actual wallets buying. Because they have all these analysis of the wallets, they can tell, oh, this wallet is just wash trading a token and just buying and selling same amounts, or if it's real person behind the bot, behind the wallet, and puts a real purchase order or sell order. So that is a good free tool. It's completely free. They have you can do 5 checks per day, and then you have to purchase pay them money. But that is a great free tool, great marketing on their side, a little bit of freemium for people to onboard and for people like me to tell my subscribers and people who watching me about this tool. And now you know about ATM.day. Also, they had this one degen toolkit to use. So great list of resources to use. We know call scan, we know holder scan. Some of the new resources were this tweet scout and get money. And also check these resources. It helps you to investigate the market, investigate what's popping right now in the Twitter and just in general on CT, which tokens are pumping. So thanks for that, ATM.day. And the last thing that I wanted to mention and talk about today is the poly market. Of course, it's in the meta everywhere. New York mayoral race was finished, and Mamdani Zohran won that race. This is the poly market, and you can see how it was trending. So Andrew Cuomo had 70%, 80%, and I believe at the end of summer and the end of June, that's when, June 8th, you can see, that's when the polls started to come out. And Zahran, I'm not very knowledgeable about the politics. I only know as much as my informational bubble reached me, but Zahran focused a lot on the viral TikToks and appealing to the people, saying how he will have free buses and free grocery stores all over New York. And I'm surprised. I lived in New York for 5 years, and I'm surprised how people bought into that message, because it's just the most populist things you can say and promise to people. And he also wanted to freeze rent, of course. In New York is very expensive, especially after pandemic. New York was the first one to open up after 2 years of lockdown. And in America, in US, the way system works is kids go to colleges, they go to universities, usually to live on campus somewhere away from where they live. They live on campus for 4 years, then they graduate, and they want to get away from the campus life. And when the lockdown happened, that usual system was broken, because now after graduation they had to go back to their home, and they didn't want to do that because they were expecting to get internships, to get jobs, and move forward with their lives, get into the big cities. That just most of the people in US, they live in suburbs, then they go into the colleges somewhere else, and then they want to go into those big metropolitan areas: Los Angeles, Boston, New York, San Francisco, Seattle. And that pace was broken. All of those people were held down in their houses for 2 years. They couldn't go anywhere. They maybe got internships, they were online. And then one of the first cities, Miami was open, by the way. So Miami started to explode with a lot of people going in there, because cities in Texas were open again. So Austin and Houston, Dallas, people went there. But big hub is New York. And when New York started to open up, rent there increased um, 20-30% in just 1 year. 2022, that's when the rent went really high. First it dropped, but then it's exploded, and New York became one of the most expensive cities. So after the pandemic, 2022, 2023, that's when Miami and New York became one of the most expensive cities because of the rent, because of all the people, influx of people who came in there. And people who lived in New York, they experienced that. And of course, we have this candidate for the mayors who is coming and saying, hey, I'm gonna freeze your rent, no more free rent increase, free buses, and free grocery stores. That is the most populist ideas you can spread in a city like this, where people just spend so much money for very tiny apartments, and people end up choosing that, I guess, because he won at the end of the day. And Andrew Cuomo was this long time politician in New York, and he so you can see how they started to his chances started to drop for Cuomo, and then Zohran just June 25. It's interesting to find out what happened on June 25, because that's when Zohran went to 73% on Polymarket. And since then, he's been trending all the way until the end, which was yesterday when he was announced and pronounced as the mayor. The reason why we're talking about this is this market, the New York City mayoral election, this event, that was the second largest poly market created. You can see here the volume is $500 million. $429 million were put into yeses and nos. Here lower you can see how many people, that's volume as well. That means both yes and no for each of these candidates. And the second largest poly market is Super Bowl right now, which is 500 million, which is going to happen in, I believe, March or April next year. But we have this huge volume, $500 million, just in this market. And then there are other markets being created. When I say markets, you need to understand what is market in this context. It's just the event in the context of poly market. So, and people in other media, when they say this market on that market, it's just this event. It's kind of like a pair of Solana and dollars, Solana and USDC. That's also a market. And here, this event is one single market. So fascinating thing is that poly market is banned in the United States. So people were saying how can there be truth in this poly market if it's all foreigners who are putting money into that? And that's why the Zohran is not going to win, because even though it says 91%, it's all foreign money, and it's manipulated by the foreign money, by the Chinese money. And that's why it's so high, his chances. But the reality is everyone has VPNs. Everyone in crypto knows that all these products, we have Hyperliquid that is banned in United States. We had Binance that was banned, and that's why CZ ended up spending 4 months in the jail. And after they not only they spun out from Binance.com, they said Binance.us. And for the little time that Binance.us operated in the United States, he ended up spending 4 months in jail because there was still some commingling and other little financial crimes. And it's fascinating that the poly market is also not available in the United States, even though it's an American company. The founder lives in New York. Poly market became big during the previous US presidential elections. That's when they become really big. And now it's the number one place for the prediction markets because it's on chain, unlike Kalshi, where it's not on chain, it's CFTC regulated market maker. Kind of like an exchange, basically, where the markets are made by the Kalshi itself. Whereas the poly market, the markets are created by the people. There is both sides, the yes and no, represented by the people. Where in Kalshi, the yes might be the people and the no might be the Kalshi itself. And here, the poly market, everything is on chain, and it can be verified how the outcomes of these events. Some interesting other markets that were created around the mayoral race is, will Bill Ackman create the longest tweet of all time? Because Bill Ackman was against Mamdani, understandable why. And if we look deeper into this market that was created, it wasn't very big because it was more like a joke, but it still generated 14,000 in volume. And the rules for this market, so in the bottom there would be, for this poly market, in the poly market there will be always rules how this event resolves, what means yes and what means no. And in this case there was this tweet attached where Bill created 4,064 words tweet. That is just so long. And the market was basically saying, and that was in January last year, and this poll market was created saying that will he write even longer one, saying how maybe New York is doomed and there is no more what we're gonna do about that, and how his course of action, how he's going to adjust. And that market resolves to no, because Bill didn't posted anything yet. There is still time in the day, maybe he will do it, but he didn't post anything. And I believe he just congratulated Mamdani. Let's check really quick. Nothing longer than 4,000. Yeah, this is the tweet. Congrats on the win. Now you have a big responsibility. If I can help New York City, just let me know what I can do. Maybe he saw that there is a market created for the longest tweet, so he decided to make the shortest tweet. Because is there tweets that are shorter than that? Oh yeah, there are some tweets like this. Let's trench a little bit, because it's always fascinating to see which coins are being launched in the environment like this. When everything is dumping, when everyone is dunking on pump fund, ICM, CCM, to launch a coin right now would be very strong and bold move. It might be Pico exiting the, doing the final extraction. You can interpret it that it's that way. But some projects, they are just looking for that exposure and additional marketing. And APIN is the best application where you can discover those coins that are pumping right now if you don't want to be on CT all the time. So most of these that I saw so far, they are old ones. So Codex 6 months ago, the Spirit of Gambling 5 months ago. See, it's reached such a low level that now it's established a support line. So 663, 7, 6.2. So 6.2, 6.3, that's the support line. It's not going lower. And if we look in the last day, that's why it's appearing on the APIN app. It's because it's pumping from 6.3 to 7 now, 7.4. So lots of opportunities in those coins that reached the bottom, formed the support line, and no jitters left, no one left to sell, and big opportunities in those coins to pump. Clippy pumped today because there was an article on Pump Fun about Clippy, and this is exactly what I was telling you about. So it was big pump, then it corrected all the way down to, it was trading at 500k, and then boom, it trades at 3 mil 35. Just one article on Pump Fun boosts it by 6x, gives it 6x on your capital if you bought it at 500k. And it went even lower. It went even to 200. 278, 258, 237, that's the lowest, 237. So from 237 on October 22 and November 5, so that's only what, 10 days? So 10 days later, from 250, 240 to 3 mil, that's 10x. And there are opportunities like that. If the community is still active, if there are still builders behind it, if there is a chance for a news, for new, just to grab attention and gain that mind share, those coins have very big chance of pumping. So you can just pray and spray and pray. Just buy a bunch of coins that are very down a lot, but still active. Again, big chance for pump like this. Wobbles, that's the coin, that is the additional, it's related to the JellyJelly, bubble face of JellyJelly, spreading fun, connection, and good vibes across the JellyJelly universe. So I didn't dig too deep into what's the difference between the wobbles, and the JellyJelly coin. But my understanding, it's the official meme coin of the project. So if the JellyJelly will be the utility one, the wobbles will be the official meme coin, like no utility. Let's check quickly what people say on Twitter about that. Troll Whale just bought wobbles. Believe Whale just bought wobbles. No real, no information about the token itself, just the traders and signals. Yeah, unfortunately no information about the project itself and why this, what's the difference between JellyJelly. The PNYX PNX, we look at it earlier on previous streams. You throw money and it trades automatically for you. Yeah, something like that. Reloaded 4 days ago. That's the project launched in when, Saturday, that would be. Token AI driven, 600k, and it's pumping. Look at that. This is how we want the Bitcoin and Ethereum price to chart to looks like. The price action, higher highs, higher lows, and continuous attempts to break into the resistance, because one of those attempts will end up a breakout. Welcome to the first TAID, token AI driven. It's a bundle scam, don't buy, stay away. Thanks, Nova. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Always love when my research is very short. Just get Nova and away from those tokens. StakeFi, building the financial OS for the AI economy, X402 payments rails, Crypto Neobank, Metal Card. That is interesting. Really good chart as well. Just looks how organic they were drawing attention, gaining that mind share. Broke through the resistance. The resistance was right here at the 700k, that they came in here and smashed through that resistance to 880, then went down to 760, established that resistance as a support now, and continued going higher. So 1.2 is the next. That's like psychological levels for all the meme coins, not specifically for this one. When they reached 300k is the first one, 600 is the second, and then 1 mil or 1.2 is the third one. Just really hard to break through, because people who get into certain levels, they end up selling at those glass ceilings, so to speak. People bought at 60K past the graduation, maybe like from 60K to 100K. That's after the token graduated. They will be selling when the token gets to 300, 350, and same that through all those levels. Stakeify. So we had a lot of, that's X402 payments narrative. $85 members in the community. That's not a lot. Maybe they just launched recently the community. Joined in August 2025, so it's not like November 2025. They've been around for some time already. Introducing the best X402 facilitator on Solana, the only Solana payment SDK with enterprise features, cryptographic receipts, fees, and more. If a company sets a 200 per week SUE will literally stop usage once 200 is reached. No surprise bills. No manual checking, no abuse. This is the powered by X402 where the money itself enforces the limit at the exact moment of spend. SUE, Stakeify Usage Envelope Engine. So they will limit the usage of the money allocated to the trading bot or trading. What? There is a Stripe. What is this? What does it say? Integration with Stripe. So there are packages. Okay, npm. It's like a library that you can span out. This is a Python library. Powered by Stakeify. But why there is a word stake inside? Are you staking anything or not? That's my main question. That's another account of theirs. X402 Tools by Stakeify. Okay, enough of digging. Definitely needs more digging into this, but it's X402 payments meta and narrative. And they're building something. For now, we saw that they have the NPM library to the enterprise environment. So is that a SaaS product will be? Fully enforced by the money itself, not an after-the-fact billing system. That is very interesting. I think that that's the crux of this idea, is something about the money itself. So it's not, the limit is set and triggered not when it's reached maybe, but when the somehow it's enforced by the money itself. And they have the buybacks. Okay, that's good. And they have what's locked on Streamflow. They have locked some supply. Okay, it's all zeros, so nothing is locked. Oh no, 1 million. 1 million is 1%. So 1% is locked. That's not too much. Okay, this is Stakeify. 40% is a top 10. And for some of these ICM projects, you do need to have control your supply. Not necessarily to dump on people. Like for a meme coin, let's say Pepe or just Pepe is a bad example, but what I mean is by the, what's the good example of reason? 6-7, okay? That's just a meme. And if someone controls 40-50%, they don't need this much, and most likely they will dump on you. And that's why it's scary, and that's why in a pin app it's marked in red. But for ICM meta, holding a big number is not a problem, because they probably need the money for the marketing, for just like ATM that day, right? We saw their economics. You need money for the marketing, you need money to pay to the centralized exchanges for them to trade your token. So you need to definitely dig deeper. 40% doesn't tell us anything. In a regular project, the joke meme coin, 40% is a red flag. In the ICM meta, it's not necessarily. Rismas 2, so we had Rismas last year. So why not to pump the original Rismas? Why need to create the Rismas 2? That is, that's not good. That is extractive. I don't know what even to see here for me to have say like, oh, that's a good narrative. Basically, like Christmas is coming, and they created a meme coin about it. Except it's very different in 2025. Remember 2024 last year, November. So right now is November 5. Back then, November 6 was was the election results. It was completely different. Markets started to pump actually November 6th last year. And right now we had October 10, we had November 2nd. Everything was dumping. Maybe it's the bottom, maybe that's the support line. But definitely very different environment we're operating now in 2025. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's a bullshit project. Not interesting, not funny. I know that Rismas Rasmer was on that coin last year, and now we have Rismas 2. I mean, nothing interesting. Fartless 3 months ago. Is it pumping? Somehow it's pumping. So 5, 400, 300. Look at this pump. From 300, for some reason it went to 430. And it's a bonk coin. Bonk is right now, it's a downtrend. Everyone is dunking on him on the tom.sol, sol.tom, tom.sol, port.sol. That's his X account. Unipix, those are the two main people behind Bonk ecosystem. And the Bonk coin itself is, let's open the chart. The Bonk coin, this is the price action, and everyone is very negative, and there is not much coming out from the Bonk launch as a launch pad. It's already lost its market share, and the token itself is at the bottom, drawing right at the support. So this is daily chart. If we open weekly, yeah, it's as low as the 2020, beginning of 2024. Well, beginning 2024 was a pretty good time. Well, it was bad for Bonk because it just launched, so insiders were exiting. But this is generally a good chart to buy, because we had 3 touches on the support, and we're right now at support again. So if it holds, if it continue holding and bounce from here and doesn't go like immediately down, that would be a good sign, because there is a very big chance that those people behind Bonk, they will come up with something new, and maybe they actually building something right now. And the moment those news come out, there is a big chance for a small pump and continuation of that Bonk narrative. Let's go back to our trenches. Fartless coin. Nyla, it's the agent. We did a research on it. I'm just waiting for Nyla to integrate X42, and when they do, they will go beyond 11 mil. $108, $202, 2.4. Yeah, that's pretty much the support level that it sits at, and there is some activity on it. There is increased volume. That's why the token appears on APIN on our app. Lumen 1 week ago. I like the logo. Pumped to 3 mil, slowly coming out, and now it's at 800. Doing a second touch on the support line, but I wouldn't buy this chart because this is too early for the there is no really TA for meme coins because there are so many insiders, the team itself, so many people might be buying and selling that the levels are very hard to draw in young coins. You need to have at least more than 3,000 holders for the levels to form, so that the holders allocations is diversified enough for if someone sells, that there is another wave of people who will buy those sells. So that's Lumen. Momo, we saw the Bonk sister. It's also Bonk coin. So right now it's 3 mil. Look at that. That's just a small increase, but why is it increasing? Is the mind share coming back? Is people are active and posting about it? Previously, the support was at 3 mil, and then we pumped a little bit, and then again we arrived at 3 mil, even touched below 2.7, and now back to 3 mil. So maybe that just a return into the range. That might be the reason. Polytail, polymarket narrative, we looked at it before. Dapper doggos, the best dressed doggo on every blockchain. That's some collectible NFT drop often on the roadmap. That's all. First of all, that's GPT generated or Sora. Yeah, this is some scam project with no. The signs of a bubble 5 days ago. And we have this Michael Burry in here from Big Short. That was launched in October and went down to 31K to the naked frozen liquidity, and then it pumped again. So someone bundled it up again, but somehow they decided to revive this token. And from 22K they pumped it to 1.1 million and started to exit again. But it didn't go to 30K, and it's bouncing right now back to 400K. The signs of a bubble. Day one of asking Michael Burry to consider adding the bubble meme coin to the Scion portfolio. Did Michael Burry started to trade meme coins? I didn't hear that or saw that. Cassandra. Yeah, I don't see him posting any meme coin, so it would be amazing if Michael Burry starts for his. Does he have he has only 4 posts. Yeah, so the token was launched after he posted this one. Sometimes we see bubbles, sometimes there is something to do about it. Sometimes the only winning move is not to play. He posted this tweet, the meme coin was launched. That's how it was. And that is the whole idea behind the coin, and that's why I wouldn't buy it. Unreasonable boost coin. I don't know what that is. It's some scam project again. Some extractive thing. Remember KitKat? There was a whole war about which KitKat is the original, which coin is the number one. There was three contenders. Everyone was boosting, but this cat got overrun by Waymo, I believe, the robotaxi in San Francisco, and it was a bodega, grocery store cat, local cat, and it got run down by the robot. If the cat gets killed by the car, it's probably deserve it because cats are super agile and they're aware of all their surroundings, and it's probably was too old to notice the car, and that's a natural death of a stray cat, of a street cat. The Kit Kat officially listed on CoinMarketCap. Where is the link then if it's listed? If it's listed, well, he provided the video for it. Kit Kat. Kit Kat was compared to Peanut, the squirrel from New York that was euthanized by the New York City authorities. But the difference is Peanut went to 1 billion market cap. Kit Kat, I believe, went to 7 mil. That was the highest. 5 mil. That was the highest. It could easily be 20, 30 mil, but we're just not in the right environment right now. The Elizabeth cat, it's another cat that was posting a lot of stuff with the Seeker phone from Solana, and people were speculating that it's actually Tolly's cat, but that's not true. We did a research on that. You can check it on our account. Optimistic Oracle 5 days ago. Truth by default, verified by economics. Decentralized data feed with economic guarantees. 350K. Good looking chart. Some corrections, established a support line, and now trending higher. They're building an Oracle on Solana that's 200x cheaper and 37x faster versus UMA. Pay AI facilitator integration in progress. I'm a fan of AI XCBT Labs and Agent because they're just X402 plus optimistic Oracle, turning truth into payable capabilities. We wire HTTP 402 payment required into the Oracle 3-layer modular design, so bonds, tips, bounties, and priorities become programmable incentives. This is too much to read right now on the stream, at least. So the narrative is optimistic Oracle for what? What is the Oracle provides? So it's Oracle. Some Oracle. not clear from just tweet itself. Need to look at it deeper. But I think they're just speculating. For now, I would say they're just speculating on X402. It's mentioned in everywhere, and that's the main narrative. Please, our JD, it's a great meme, and it sits at 2.8 mil. Found its support, and each time JD does something, that's his meme now. He's embracing it. Lucrum AI, autonomous agents that trade, farm, and optimize yield 24/7 DeFi AI powered by X402. Real nice word salad of terms and hype buzzwords. And all of that gives you 300K market cap. Pump Fund Pepe, 3.5 mil. Pumping right now, wow. I will be interested to look into the distribution of tokens and who's pumping this. That's it, guys. We saw this, we saw that. New 24 hours, 40% ghosty. I found something interesting on the Phantom app and the new update it has. If you click on the icon on the bottom right, it takes you to a screen where it highlights how to create a username for your wallet. There you will see an animated phantom ghost switching between various handles names. All of these handles are actual famous people except for one. That one is Ghosty, which can only mean they are naming the phantom ghost Ghosty. This has never been tokenized until now. Look at this deep research done on the Phantom app. Xmas helmet, bullshit. Shit and piss, skin can, AI generated. Ultimate coin, AI generated. Ingrave protocol, the first MCP server that gives AI agents access to Bitcoin via X402 Xpoint. Live streaming every day, building the protocol from scratch on Pump Fund. Shit happens. Token metric live. Pepemas. Decentralized AI agent platform combining swarm orchestration, zero knowledge encryption, and HTTP 402 micropayments, building the future of private AI. Yeah, these projects, these ICM tokens, they need to be studied. Like, what is actually they're trying to solve? What's the problem they're trying to tackle? But let's add it to our like list by swiping right. Thanks, guys. You can find APIN on all the platforms, available in 170 countries. You can also trade on web app. Just open app.ape/in.com. And thanks for watching.